Of your phone. Good day, everyone. Welcome once again to Decency Royal Fashion and Health Tip. Today, we want to talk about how to sew this Ankara Senator wear. It's for a child. So now we will go right away into the work. I have my measurement here with me. The first thing you will need to do is to fold your material into two. Get the largest part. We want to start with the trouser first. Get the largest part, which will happen to be your tie. Your tie divide by two. Whatever you have, you add 2 inches, allow inches to it, so that you will have your allowance. Now, what do I have as my largest part? My largest part is my tie, which is 14. 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. This is it. Then that 7, I added 2 inches allowance to it. So I have my folding now. Now let's go into the work. The first thing what I want to do is that I want to make use of elastic. So elastic, I use 1.5 inches for it. So I will minus it from my measurement. This is 1.5 inches. Now my measurement will start from the elastic line downward. So my full length, I'm taking my full length now. My full length is 22. This is my 22. So I will add 1.5. I will add 2 inches. You can add 1.5 depending on what you want to do. If you want it much, because it's a child, if it is adult, you can go ahead with the 2 inches. If it is a child, you can go ahead and use 1.5 inches. But me, I'm going to use 2 inches allowance for it. So this is my 22. I chalk it out, and this is my allowance, 2 inches folding allowance. Now the next thing to do is to mark my hip line. My hip line for children, it can range from 4 to 5 inches. If it is adult, it can be from 8 to 10, 11, depending on the height of the person. So I'm using 5 inches as my hip line. Then I now move ahead to my crouch line, which is your hip divided by 4. So my hip that I have here is 24. So 24 divide by 4 will give me 6. That 6, I will add 1 inches allowance to it, which will give me 7. So this is it. This is my 6. I added 1 inches allowance to it, which is 7. So I chalk it out. This is my crouch line. So I chalk it out. And the next thing is your knee line. It's not compulsory. Me, I like working without making use of the knee line, but if you want to make use of it, you can divide your full length by 2. Whatever you have, you indicate it. So like my full length is 22 now. So if I divide it into 2, it will give me 11. So that 11 will be my knee point or knee line. So I chalk it out. It's not necessary, but you can put it so that you have accuracy. Now I'm done with this one. I'm going to insert all my round measurements. Because I'm working with elastic, I will be making use of my hip instead of my waistline. I will not be making use of my waistline because of I'm making use of elastic. So I will divide my hip by 4. 24 divided by 4. Okay, let me just show you another way of getting it. Instead of stressing yourself too much, you can fold it into 2 and you fold it again, which is 6. So I'm going to insert my 6 on my waistline. Then 1 inches allowance. I will go ahead and insert the same thing on my hip line, which is the 6 plus 1 inches allowance also. Then coming to my crouch line, I'm going to insert my thigh. Remember, your thigh, you divide it by 2. So my thigh is 14. 14 divided by 2 will give me 7. So I will insert my 7 plus 1 inches allowance. It depends. You can decide to use half inch, but me, I'm going to use 1 inches allowance. Good. Then I will now move down to my round bottom. My round bottom is 9. So 9, I'm going to divide that 9 by 2. Remember, it's only the round bottom and your thigh that you divide it by 2. The rest measurement you divide by 4. So now 9 divided by 2 will give me 8.5. I'll insert it plus 1 inches allowance. Like I said, you can work with half inch. It depends. So now I'm done. The next thing to do is to connect it. When you come here, you're going to create a curve the way you curve your armhole. Sorry, I love to make use of free hand. You can see the curve now. Just like the way you curve your armhole. If you have your armhole curve, you can make use of it there. So what I'm going to do is to connect it right down to match the round bottom. Here you need to be very careful so that you will not get it wrong. So as you can see, our front panel is ready. It's very simple. Now we are going forward to cut it. We are going to cut it. We are going to cut it and then use the front panel to cut the back panel. Now we are done. I'm done cutting the front panel. I'm going to use this front to cut the back. It's very easy. Now when you cut it, as you can see, I supposed to place it this way, but I discovered that this place will not be enough to avoid wasting my material. So I'm going to turn it this way. Good. I've turned it this way. Now the next thing I'm going to do for the back panel, because the back panel is always bigger than the front panel. Now I'm going to, from this place to my crouch, I'm going to add 1.5 inches to it, to the back panel. If it is adult, you can go ahead and add 2 inches, but because it's a child, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for it all the way to the crouch. 1.5. I'm going to cut. It's not that sharp. That's a little curve. Sorry, I'm painting it. So now, but from this down part, which is the leg side, you're going to add 1 inches. But you will not just start with 1 inches. You are going to bring it down a little bit, 1.5. Then as you are coming down, you reduce your hand to 1 inches. So I'm going to curve it. Sorry, free hand as master me. You can make use of your tape to measure if it is up to 1 inch. As you can see, my own is 1 inch. So I'm using my eyes. You chalk it down till you get to the down part. Now it's set. The next thing you're going to do now is to slant the front panel. So I'm going to remove ½ inch from the front panel. ½ inch. So I remove ½ inch. From this ½ inch, I will slant it this way. Then I'm going to cut it out. From that ½ inch you cut out, from there you add 1 inch to the back part. This is my 1 inch. So from there, connect it to that my 1½ inches. Then now it will not come straight. You just bring it as you're coming. You'll be coming down to join this particular line. The way I'm doing it. So it has shaped. As you can see, I've joined the line. So that is how it goes. The next thing to do is to cut it. I'm going to cut it out. Please, if this is the first time watching my channel, please do subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you'll be notified. Thank you. So now we are done cutting. What you need to do now, the next step is to start the sewing process. If you are putting elastic, next thing to do is to open the side. I'm going to open the front panel, the side, and do the same thing with the back panel. I can see this place is not that accurate, so I'm going to trim it out to make it equal. Okay, it's equal now. So I open the front and I also open the back panel. So if you are not putting pocket, you can go ahead and sew it like that. I just joining the front panel, join the front panel together, join the back together, and start the sewing. I will show you as we are progressing. Now I want to put pocket. So what will I do now is to measure my pocket. For adults, you can make use of 7. So now I'm going to notch out my pocket. Remember, if you're putting pocket, you make use of only the front panel. So because I'm putting elastic, I'm going to minus that elastic that I put. As you can see, the mark is still there. Minus it, which is 1½. Then from there you measure 5 inches. As you can see, 5 inches downward. If it is adult, it is 7. You can use 7, you can use 6, depending on how you want it to be. But me, I'm going to use 5 because it is a child. So this is my 5. Now I'm going to notch it. So I've notched it. Now the next thing is, so we have notched this particular one. I'm going to notch the upper part again since we use 5 from there. So I'm going to still measure here upward 5. Wherever the 5 starts, I'm going to notch it again. So this is where my 5 falls. I'm going to notch it again. Beautiful. So we are done. I'm moving ahead to sewing process. I will be guiding you on step by step till we achieve this. So it's time for us to cut the top, which is the Senator, Ankara Senator top. We are done cutting the trouser. It's now time for top. So what you need to do first is to fold your material into two by using the largest part of the body. Now, the largest part of the body can be the tummy or your chest, depending on the nature of the person. You know, if it is, some adults has bigger tummy than their chest, so in a process whereby you have such person, you are going to make use of the tummy as your largest part. But me, I'm working with a child. You know, some children, their tummy and their chest always be the same thing, so I will be making use of their chest. Their chest divided by 4, whatever I have, I will add 2 inches to it. Now I'm working with 24, just 24. So 24 divided by 4, and I'll add 2 inches to it. 6 plus 2 inches. Stay up. So it's almost the same thing. We'll leave this one like this. We'll use it like this. So now after cutting the material you want to use to avoid wastage, the next thing to do is to go ahead and slant your shoulder. If it is adult, you make use of 2.5 inches, but since I'm working with a child, I will be using 1.5 inches for my slanting. This is 1.5. You slant it to the neck. So I'm done with the slanting. Now the next thing to do is for you to take your full length measurement. Remember, you will not start from here, you will start from the slanting part so that your measurement will be accurate. Now remember, you are not just starting from this tip, you are going to leave like half inches that you use for your joining. This is my half inches, so I will take my full length. My full length is 18, so I marked my 18, and I will add 2 inches for folding for the down hemming. Fold it inside. Now I'm set. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to cut it out, use it to cut the back. Okay, I want to cut it now so that I can use it to cut the back before we can insert our body measurement. You can insert it the way it is now, but I just want to show you the easiest method that will not confuse you much. So I'm done cutting the front panel, so I use it to cut the back. We use it to cut the back. Now this is the front. I fold the back into 2 and I place the front on it. Now I want to slant the shoulder, because whatever you do to the back, the front panel, that is the slanting part, you have to slant the back also. So we are slanting it the same way we slanted the front. So after slanting, what you need to do to the back is to give it out 1.5 inches, that 1.5 inches, so that it will drop to the front side. So you shift it downward and make sure you measure it. If it is up to 1.5, As that 1.5 we use for the slanting, still use it again. Adult, if you use 2 for the slanting, you have to make sure this place 2 is 2, the dropping is 2. So this, I have my 1.5 inches now. So always make sure they are accurate of checking it. So now it's time for us to place our measurements. The first thing we are going to insert is the shoulder. I'm working with my shoulder, which is 10. Then divide by 2. Remember, you divide your shoulder by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Then I will add half inches for joining of the sleeve. Do the same measurement to the back panel. 5.5. So that's my shoulder. So from there, I will measure my armhole down. My armhole is making use of 11 for my. So I take my armhole now. Remember to take your armhole from the back part, because this back is going to drop to the front, increasing the armhole. So if you start your armhole from the front, you may get it more excess. So it's better you start from the back panel. That's why I place them together, so that it will not confuse you. So you start from here. I'm making use of 11, which is divided by 2. I have my 5.5, so I'm making use of 5.5 for my armhole. Make a straight line down there, and you give it a curve. Sorry, I love using freehand. Now our armhole is set. The next thing you are going to do is to insert your chest measurement. The chest line will fall, can be, you can make use of 8 or 9 for the children. I'm going to make use of 8. So that's the chest line. Can also insert waistline. With me, if I have the chest line, is okay by me. So I'm going to use 13 as the waistline. So you can insert your waist. So the next thing to do is to divide your round chest by 4 and insert it. My round chest is 24. Divided my round chest. I'm going to insert it now. Divide it by 4. Whatever you have, you insert it plus your allowance. So what I have here, I insert it. So I had 1 inches for ease and 1 for allowance, making it 2 inches. So from here, what I always do, I don't always like putting my waist because my chest is the biggest part. So from this armhole, I'm going to connect it to this chest, giving out a shape out. That is it. So from this your armhole, you connect it down to your waistline. From your waistline, you throw your hand out. So from there, this is my chest. From my chest, I connect it to my waistline. From my waistline, then I come out, because this down part, you are going to fold it. where our slit will be. So now it's time for us to cut it out. So now we are done cutting. This is the outcome. The next thing to do is to cut the neck. So I will be using a child. The round neck is 10 inches. I will be using 1.5 by 2. 1.5 by 2. I have to place it well. 1.5 by 2 inches. And curve it. That is the front. I want to erect the same line to the back part. Not be too choking. So the back, I'm still going to make use of 1.5. This 1.5. 1.5 by 1.5, because the back will not be as deep as the front. 1.5 by 1. When I'm sewing, I can make use of the half. I doubt this 1.5, this one will not give me, so let me increase it to 1.5. 1.5 by 1.5. So I will first of all cut the back first before I will cut the front. So I have too much chalk here. You can as well use the same thing and place it so that you will not make a mistake. To check if it is the same thing. As you can see, it's the same thing. So we are done with our neck. The next thing to do is to cut out our facing. Let's go there. I want to cut the back yoke now. So I'll fold my material into 2 also. I'll carry the back panel and place on it like this. I will use my chalk and trace the neck. If you don't want to trace, you can just go ahead and cut it if you know that it will not shift. I'm making use of everything. I'm cutting it right away. So I'm done with cutting the yoke. I'm going to give it a curve. If it is straight, you can leave it like that. With me, I want to give it a round. I want my back to be round. So just give it a round shape. I'll cut it out. That is it for the back. When you open it, the yoke will come this way. I'll have something like this. can see, give it a round shape. We are done with the back. We are going to cut the front piping. On the front one, you have to cut it in a bias form. If you cut it straight, it will not give you what you want. At the end of the day, you will discover that your neck is not balanced. You place it in a bias form like this. You see, you have to check and see if it is stretchy. You can see this one is stretched now. So you are going to cut it. So this is my front piping. So we are going to go ahead and start the sewing process. I will be showing you step by step on how to sew it, but if you don't have a sewing machine, you can go as well as using your needle and thread to try. It's very easy and simple, and you will still come out with excellent results. Let's start sewing. Okay, before we start the sewing process, I want to show you how to cut the front. What you, after piping your front, you need to slit it into two and use this one as a placket. So since I'm working with a child, we'll be making use of 12. If you are using adults, if you are sewing for adults, you can use 15 or more depending on where you want it to stop. So now I will use 12 because it's a child. Your width can be 3 inches or 2.5 inches. My own is almost just 3 inches. So after folding, it will still be okay because I'm going to put my hemming gum inside there and iron it. Okay, let's go straight to the sleeve side. I fold my material into two. Take my length. Fold my material into two. I'll go ahead and check my sleeve. I think it's too much because my armhole is 5.5. It's okay like this. It's okay like this. So what I'm going to do next is just to connect it. So I want to do cut together sleeve. So you measure it. My length is 7 inches plus 2 inches allowance, which is 9. I'm going to fold my material this way. Let me fold it this way so that it will give me 2 sleeves at once. If you want to cut it one, no problem. This is where my line stop. This is where my line stop. Okay, I indicate this so that I will not touch the part that has been cut out somewhere here. So now I love using freehand for my slanting, but if you don't have idea, you can make use of 2.5 by coming here. Just measure 2.5. If it is adult, you can go ahead 3 or 3.5. It depends. You can just mark 2.5 there. So from this edge, just curve it and come down and join with the 2.5. So the next thing, I will check my round. My round is 8. Mark it plus 1.5 inches. You can put 1 inches. Put 1 inches. Go to the down part. Make use of 7. Just minus 1 inches from it. It will not be fitted. So that's 7, 3.5 plus 1 inches allowance. So let me check my armhole now. My armhole is 5.5. So I have my 5.5 here plus 1 inches. So let me just leave it at 7. From there I will connect it down. My sleeve is ready. Now to cut this down part, let me check. It was the main one is 7 inches. This 7 inches here, 7 inches, and plus 2 inches. 1, 2. Still have this small one. This small one can serve me. Can use this half inches for the joining upper part. So no need for me to remove it. So let me leave it. So I have to bend it this way. You have to bend it this way before cutting, so that I will not have one side being shortened. From there I'll follow my chop. So I'm not following my line, just coming up a bit. So now I have my, you can see this place now. It's not, so as you can see, it's not the same thing. So you notch the corner, so that you know that that's your folding point. So if you don't want this one, you can go ahead and remove it. So now it's set. You notch this to edge. So when you want to attach it to the sleeve, so our sleeve now is set. As you can see, it's 2. So let's proceed the sewing process.